Okay, YouTube, I'm sitting here, basically I'm making a video about the different gun control legislation that the government's trying to push through. I think that this gun control legislation is ridiculous. It's not going to do anything. Criminals generally do not seem to care about the law. I know this is a strange fact for most people, that criminals do not follow the law, they do not listen to the law, and basically they're not going to listen to this new law, and it'll just disarm the legal gun owners who use their firearms responsibly, use them to protect themselves, and just use them for basic home defense and for recreational shooting. I have a few talking points here. The New York gun laws, Piers Morgan about how he's basically an idiot. Joe Biden, how he had his little fireside chat and made himself look, I don't know, I'm not going to choose the words of what I think that he made himself look like. I apologize if I offend anybody with this video. But yeah, here we go. So, the New York gun laws. New York recently signed a bill into law stating that no one is allowed to have assault weapons. They have to be sold out of the state in, I think it's a year. They're not grandfathering mags in. If you have a 10-round magazine, you can keep it, but you can only load it with 7 rounds, which I don't think anyone's going to listen to. Because I don't think we're going to have cops walking around going, well, you have 10, well, I need to see your mag because you might have 10 rounds in your mag. It's basically the toughest gun laws that this country has seen to date. And it's ridiculous. Next is Piers Morgan. I'm going to touch on this. Piers Morgan, you are an idiot. You think that assault weapons, I guess we're calling them personal defense rifles now, are mass killing machines and nobody needs them and this and that. And okay, so New Orleans Katrina hit a couple years ago, and everybody decided that, and basically New Orleans went to hell. There was no law, there was no anything, and people use these rifles to defend themselves from criminals who looters, and basic people, other people trying to come and take their supplies. I haven't read any stories about this. I guarantee you it happened. And you just think that, and your show is hilarious. I give you that, because you bring on these people who are pro-gun, they don't want guns banned, and then you just try to completely and utterly tear them to shreds. And it's ridiculous. You cut them off from talking points, you interrupt them, you blatantly try and throw facts that aren't true. I looked into some of your facts, they are not true. And when you're confronted with facts, you don't know how to respond. It's hilarious. And you're in this country. We earned our independence from your country, and now you're over here talking about how we need to give up our guns and this and that, and your country's violent crime rate is through the roof. Through the roof. And you want to come over here and say, well, our gun murder rate isn't nearly as high as your gun murder rate. Okay, well, we also have what, 3-4 times more people than you do? The population in the UK is 60 million, I think, somewhere around there, and these are just rough figures. Our population's close to, last time I heard, it was 360 million people. Obviously, we're going to have a higher gun violence rate. There are more guns in this country. There are more people in this country. There's obviously going to be a few more bad people in this country. And the fact that you're over here preaching, well, our country's more civilized and this and that, and using our First Amendment right to try and take away our Second Amendment right. And if the Second Amendment right falls, the other ones will too. It's proven time and time again over the course of history. Tyrants try to take away your guns. It's just a common fact. And I'll touch on that later. So, Piers Morgan, your show's hilarious. It's ridiculous, but it's hilarious because of your talking points and how you interrupt everyone. And that's it on that one. Joe Biden in his fireside chat was hilarious. We have clips in magazines now. We have shells in magazines. And we have cartridges and clips in magazines and this and that. And we have 8, 10, 12, 13, 15, 17 round magazines. We get 30 round magazines. And he just rambles off numbers. And he talks about if we make it so that if we ban high capacity magazines, then no one's ever then maybe he'll fumble with the reload. Maybe it'll take him 1.5 to 2 minutes to get a magazine in. Where have you ever reloaded a magazine into a firearm? 1.5 to 2 minutes. I can load a magazine in 43 seconds. Load the magazine with bullets. If I carried around individual ammunition and loaded them into magazines, I could get that in my gun faster than you could at 1.5 to 2 minutes. Granted, it would be a high-stress situation. It would be a high-stress situation. Adrenaline would be pumping. Like, your hands probably won't work as well, but I timed it sitting here, loaded my magazine, 15 rounds in 43 seconds. And you think that it'll take someone 1.5 to 2 minutes to reload. What are they using, a musket? Do they have to run out to their car and get the magazine that they left? Like, come on. And you want to take away our firearms. This is ridiculous. You probably haven't ever shot a firearm. Dianne Feinstein showed time and time again that she doesn't know how to properly use a firearm, let alone hold one, with the fact that she's muzzle sweeping a room with a finger on the trigger. So, politicians, if you're going to come after something, please know what you're coming after. Don't just blatantly throw, assault weapons, they're the same as an M16 or an M4. No, they're not. Our assault weapons, personal defense rifles, are semi-automatic. The military uses fully automatic to single fire rifles. You can change your rate of fire given on the situation that you're in. Last time I checked, you can't do that with an AR-15. And yeah, so there's a few of my talking points. And Obama, you surround yourself with children and then you cry when the NRA brings your kids into it. You brought kids into the argument when you surrounded yourself with children, when you argued about when you went to sign those executive orders. And you know who else surrounded themselves with children? Hitler. In the 1930s, he said, I'm registering firearms for the kids so that we know where they are and this and that. And this is a quote that Hitler said. This year will go down in history for the first time a civilized nation has full gun registration. Our streets will be safer, our police more efficient, and the world will follow our lead into the future. Hitler in 1935. And a few other dictators have used gun control. China, you're not allowed to own firearms. Russia, you're not allowed to own firearms. Stalin made it so that you could not have a firearm after World War II. And he killed hundreds of people. Not hundreds, it was millions of people. Same with Hitler. Hitler rounded up and killed millions of people. This is what happens when you take away guns. People can't stand up for themselves and say, this isn't right, this shouldn't happen. And if you take away the people's right to defend themselves, then you don't have a democracy anymore. That's why the Second Amendment is there, and I don't know why politicians throw around, I don't know why you need an assault rifle, a personal defense rifle to defend yourself, and for hunting and sporting. Hunting and sporting seems to be their argument. You don't need that for hunting and sporting. Okay, the Second Amendment doesn't guarantee us the right to hunt and sport, to hunt and recreationally shoot. It guarantees us the right to bear arms. And this is ridiculous. You want to throw in that argument? Like, come on. And another argument that I love, the nuclear suitcase argument, coming from anti-gunners. Well, if you can carry an AR-15, then why can't you carry should you be able to carry a nuclear suitcase? No. Nuclear weapons are used as a deterrent against a massive invasion and other nuclear weapons. The United States had a policy in the 1960s and 70s during the Cold War of MAD, mutually assured destruction. Basically, if you launch one nuke at us, we turn your country into glass. That's what would happen. That has nothing to do with my personal defense. I'm not going to set off a nuclear bomb to defend my family. That's just me. I don't know. There are crazy people out there. I would not set off a nuclear... Oh, my house is getting broken into. Let me go get my nuclear bomb. What? And basically, just that argument is completely and utterly ridiculous. And crime rates. I'm going to hit another thing on here. Crime rates. I got off topic a little bit. I apologize. You want to talk about crime rates. If we ban firearms, they'll make everything safer. Crime rates have already been going down. Why are you going to fix something that isn't broken? Obviously, something needs to be done, but banning everything from legal citizens is not going to do it. You want to sit there and live in your fantasy world that if it's against the law, a criminal won't do it. I don't live in that fantasy world. I live in the fact that there are bad people out there that want to hurt you and your loved ones. They want to take what you have. And you have to defend what you have. That's my philosophy. That's the way I look at the world. And it's just hilarious because this argument, every argument that you present is just awful. It's awful. That's the only way I can put it. You sit there and you talk about, well, if we had more gun laws, then we'd take some of these weapons off the street. Yeah, from the legal people that use them responsibly, not the criminals. If you could guarantee the fact that no criminal is ever going to get their hands on an AR-15 or a Glock 17 or a SIG P226, speaking of which, I have one of those right here. It's going to be safety checked. No magazine in it. And for the record, I bought that with my money because I know there's going to be someone down in the comments that goes, well, you had your parents buy that for you. No, I saved up for it. I bought it. Shut up. I keep that gun loaded in my nightstand, ready to go in case someone decides to break into my house. That's my home defense weapon. That's what I use. I'm saving up for a 12 gauge with 8 rounds in the tube. I recently got a new job where I get paid better and it's awesome. But now I can't find anything to buy because everyone's panic buying and I'm hoping that it'll calm down soon. So I can get my hands on a lower or something like that. Because I was looking at an AR-15 lower and building my own out of one of those Delton rifle kits. But Delton's basically told everybody, go to hell. So, basically, this whole argument is just complete and utter ridiculousness. Is it a word? Oh, well. You basically sit there